Cool. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. I'm Cage. Chair's here too. Hello, Chair.
Chair. Hi.
Yeah. Today we're gonna talk about the Rings of Power, episode
Episode
4.
4.
But also
Oof.
I did a
Oh,
little podcast last night
oh.
to talk about some nerd news because Bo DeMaio, the showrunner from X-Men '97, released another statement. This time on his OnlyFans account. so,
Okay.
so
Man, I love being a human being in 2024, man. It's
yeah,
so great and makes you feel like have hope for the species as a whole. You're
yeah,
just you're just, you're
yeah.
just so I'm so content with everything that happens every day, these occurrences.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're interested, I talked about that. I talked about George R. R. Martin's complaints about House of the Dragon. I talked about the rumored casting of Hal Jordan for the Lanterns TV series, and Ian McKellen says he has been approached to return as Gandalf for the Hunt for Gollum. So
Cool.
yeah. I also talked about the Rings of Power a little bit because people were real mad about the orc baby. Um, so
Yeah.
uh,
Rio said that was breaking her brain.
well, the thing is, I'll just
Because
say
we don't know how that all works, right? Like he never wrote it down, and it's not
he
like
he wrote a lot
they're
of
like a
stuff down. So
they're like a fell race. They're like at first explained to me that they're corrupted elves, but then it's like no, that they're actually their own thing and all this and that, and I don't
yeah,
know.
so Tolkien wrote a lot of versions of the origin of orcs um, for a lot of different reasons, but ultimately, what it comes down to is um, I think people are just mad. Like people want to be mad about something, right? And with the
Yeah,
Rings of Power, like there's this major spotlight on it, and people comb over it with a fine tooth comb to just find problems. And my issue with it, it comes from this thing of where people want to dictate to you how you should feel about something based on what
mm,
Tolkien would have thought. And this is the thing I read over and over. Oh, Tolkien's rolling in his grave. This isn't what Tolkien's intentions were. And then you see other people who come back and say, well, Tolkien also wrote this and this that contradict what you're saying and whatever. And my whole thing is, it doesn't matter because yes, it may be true that Tolkien would hate the idea of baby orcs, but Tolkien would have also hated the Lord of the Rings trilogy movies. He would have
yeah.
despised them, most likely. And they made a lot of changes as well, and those movies are well regarded by many people.
Can I tell you
Um,
something?
yes.
I think those movies are the reason why they're so popular in nerdom, and if those movies weren't as successful as they were, The Lord of the Rings wouldn't be an obscure fantasy novel, but it would just be another fantasy novel, or like one of the best ones. But like, how many people know what Name of the Wind is? How many people have read Aragon? How many people have read, how many people have read and knew what the Wheel of Time was until they made a series on Amazon? That stuff has real cultural impact, like making really successful movies, right?
Yeah, I mean, The Lord of the Rings is, I think, a little different because in the time it was published, people were still mostly reading, and it was, the second best-selling book of all time behind the Bible. So,
Yeah.
like we can't deny that it is one of the most read pieces of literature in history. But yeah, at the same time, would people, let's say, 30 years of age and younger, be familiar or care about Lord of the Rings as much without those movies? Absolutely not, right? Like the Rings of Power would have probably never got made, and if it did get made, it would mostly be people 50 and older who would be the ones critiquing it, right? Like the Tolkien
Yeah.
scholars and all that stuff, right? The thing is, we're all Tolkien scholars now because we all have the internet and we can all say we know everything Tolkien's ever written and it's the best thing ever, and everything that is not what Tolkien wrote is the worst thing ever. And people are really scrupulous about the Rings of Power in a way that they aren't about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, despite the fact that their argument is essentially the same. They're making changes, and Tolkien would hate it. While Tolkien would have hated the fact that Frodo didn't wait 17 years to leave the Shire, Tolkien would have hated the fact that they ruined Faramir for those movies. Tolkien would have not recognized the character of Aragorn in those movies. Tolkien would have hated the fact that elves showed up in Helm's Deep in those movies. Tolkien would
Yeah.
have hated a lot of things about the way those movies were made. Um, but that doesn't mean we can't love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Like
uh,
the first 3 episodes, like Rio and I to wash our mouths after that episode 4. What happened at episode 4? You know, it we went back and watched a few scenes from those first 3 episodes, and we felt a lot better. I'm gonna put that out there.
yeah. The episode 4 really struck me as odd. So
Yeah.
spoiler warning if you haven't watched it. We're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, First of all, Galadriel and Elrond are just way too feisty. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
really feisty. Elrond fucking hates the ring. Like
Yeah.
he despises it. And at the end of the episode, she gives him the ring, and then he makes some fucking snarky comment about how she's not sacrificing herself to save them. She's sacrificing herself to save the ring, which is really odd to me. But okay, which just tells me that in a future episode, Elrond is going to have to use the ring, and it's going to be really fucking annoying. So there's that. One thing I do like, I like the maps when they show the maps, like when they're traveling or whatever.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
the maps. Okay, I think they're cool.
Yep.
I've always liked the Lord of the Rings maps though, so nothing surprising there. They listen. We've talked about it before. They have the rights to Lord of the Rings and the appendices.
Yep.
And I guess that's why they're just straight up ripping scenes out of the Fellowship of the Ring here and just copy pasting them over these characters. But like they do it twice. They do the scene where in the Fellowship of the Ring, Old Man Willow essentially eats the hobbits. I mean, they get sucked into his trunk. Aside from, is it Sam who doesn't? One of them. But they essentially get sucked in, and Tom has to come and rescue them. They pretty much do the same thing here, except with the stranger getting sucked in by a different named Old Man Silver or some shit tree, and he gets rescued by Tom. It's like the same exact thing. And then they do the Barrow Downs, like copy paste the Barrow Downs from the Fellowship of the Ring books, where the hobbits get taken by Barrow Wights, and Tom rescues them there. But it's pretty much the same thing. Like, why are there Barrow Downs in the north or in the south? Like all of a sudden, there's just Barrow Downs in the south. Like,
yeah, in the south.
The Barrow Downs are in the north. Like,
Do you think could there be other Barrow Downs?
There absolutely there could be other Barrow Downs with other Barrow Wights, but I don't know. It's just like
I thought the scene was cool to start off with, and then here's the thing though. But everything in this show, in this episode, devolves into really dumb action sequences. They felt like, okay, guys, we need to ham fist some action in here to make things more intense, or else people may get bored.
Not only are they
I gotta put this out.
Yeah.
Just to put this out, I hate the argument like, oh, I'm getting bored watching this. Like, fuck, man, go read Lord of the Rings and tell me you're compelled for each and every single fucking sentence, right? A lot of people gloss over a lot of part of that book because it's a huge book, right? Not all of it's supposed to be 100% engaging all the time. That's just how it is. I know it's a show, and I know it's supposed to get you like harder, but also there's gonna be some more. It's Tolkien-esque, you know. There's gonna be some more relationship building, some more intimate scenes, some things more just based on like like light magic, like light absence of magic, just weird stuff, nature, lots of nature shots, like traveling, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just dumb that people are complaining that I'm getting bored. Like, fuck, man, I don't know what to tell you with your 60-second attention span. Okay.
Yeah, so, some of the action I don't mind, but like not only do they shoehorn in a lot of stuff, they shoehorn in a lot of romance out of nowhere. Like, I don't need Isildur and Estrid to fall in love. I don't need fucking Poppy to fall in love with this store. Like, it's just like you're just meeting for the first time, and like it's all just this weird shit. Like, maybe it's supposed to be entertaining. I don't find it very entertaining, to be honest.
No, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I actually kind of feel unprepared for this episode because like when the hobbits just started yapping at each other, like I started scrolling on my phone like instinctually, and then like I looked up and realized like 5 or 6 minutes had passed, and like nothing really important had happened, and they were just hobbits yapping about Harfoot this, Harfoot that, like.
Yeah, so the Hobbit stuff is because like I don't know. They're trying to build the
You just shook your
mythology.
head.
They're
I
trying
love
to
you shaking your head. I love you shaking your fucking head there. Like,
they're trying to
like
build
you.
the mythology of hobbits and where they come from, and like the idea
Yeah.
that essentially Sadok, who was I guess at one point a store, went out and left, and his journey was to find pretty much the Shire and start living in holes in the Shire, right? Essentially establish the lore of the hobbits.
Mm,
And that's what the Harfoots at this point are, is those wandering peoples.
yeah.
And hobbits mostly, are descendants. I mean, they're all descendants of pretty much Harfoot stores and whatever the third one is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, okay, sure. Don't really care about that, to be honest. And also, clearly, these marauders know where they live the whole fucking time and just don't do anything about it until some random Harfoots show up, which, okay, I don't know why they care about that either. Like, they're halflings, they're hobbits, whatever. Like, all of a sudden you care,
Well,
like,
it's good. It's good to know. Like where you live and stuff, like where your people are in your land that you say you occupy. I kind of see that.
no, but the like not like but the marauders, why do they care? Like why do they all of a sudden care? Why wouldn't they have like kicked the stores out before if they knew where they lived the whole
Because they
time?
didn't care back then. So they're like, all right, we're not going to waste manpower doing this because it's the desert and it's really hot all the time and we have to drink water and do stuff.
But they can waste a bunch of energy chasing a stranger through the fucking desert.
Yeah, because the evil dark wizard told them to.
The evil okay, whatever. The evil dark wizard, by the way,
He's
uh,
absolutely Saruman.
he's
I'm
not
calling it.
Saruman. There's no
I'm
way.
calling it right now. They're gonna say it.
There's no way he's Saruman. He's got to be that Easterling guy from the appendices, the Easterling who like could practice magic and like ruled part of Rune.
Oh,
Has to
yeah.
be because, or it could be one of the Blue Wizards. Like maybe they're building the history of the Blue Wizards because Tolkien never said much about them other than he doesn't really know what happened to them. But you can assume maybe one went evil and one went good, and then they met up and whatever. Who knows? But the lore that's being built within the Rings of Power is that the Dark Wizard came to Tom Bombadil and asked for him to teach him magic. And apparently Tom taught him magic, and then he turned evil. And now the stranger's there asking Tom to teach him magic, and Tom is like, I don't know, man. That other guy, he just wants to be, he wants to team up with Sauron now. So I don't know about teaching you magic. Also, why is the stranger trying to rip a branch off of a fucking tree?
He needs a staff, bro. He thought it was his staff.
But it's different than the one in the vision.
That's how it be sometimes.
Okay, what are you saying?
I'm gonna say though, like the meme is here on the Nerd Ledger to all of our millions of fans that know all our memes and are constantly posting memes all the time. I see them as I'm scrolling on Instagram just because we're that famous and popular. We know that I here on the Nerd Ledger know that I have kind of a dislike for Tom Bombadil, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe Cage is right. Maybe I am being biased, but also, do you think that guy was a little stiff?
No.
The acting was
To me,
the acting.
to me, he is acting exactly how Tom Bombadil would act. Other than Tom Bombadil is much more cheery. This guy seemed
Yeah,
much
that's
more
what I
serious.
was thinking. More serious. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought he was a little
Like,
strange.
Again, I wouldn't say serious. I'd say very nonchalant, which Tom Bombadil is. But like Tom Bombadil is nonchalant in a joyful way.
Yeah.
And this guy,
Hey, he's always singing. He's always supposed to be singing shit.
well, he was singing, but more like in a forlorn way and not in a joyful way.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like clapping his fucking yellow boots together while he's hopping and skipping down the road. It's definitely not Tolkien, guys. He definitely didn't write himself into these books or anything like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Rio told me ever since I put that idea out there that she can't stop thinking about it whenever she does her yearly reread of Lord of the Rings. Thinking about well, this is just Tolkien writing himself into his own books.
I don't pick that up. I don't pick that up.
There's a super powerful guy in nature, and he just knows how to talk to all the trees, and he was here before, and he's just ancient and infinite and wise. And if you just talk to trees and learn their names, and you know things, you speak well. And I have a hot elf wife that hangs out with me named Goldberry.
She's not an elf. She's a water sprite.
Okay, a water sprite, even better. I'll tell you. All right.
Yeah.
The whole sequence, by the way, that's why I had Tom Bombadil.
Yeah,
I just
also,
think the whole
where
part
is Goldberry and who was the woman singing? That made no sense to me.
it's the lamb. She's a lamb. She turned into a lamb.
Oh. Was she singing?
Yeah, she was singing, then she turned into a lamb maybe because she's afraid of Gandalf. or the stranger.
Oh, yeah,
What
I
do you
didn't pick
think?
that up. I was
This
just
guy,
like, oh, why? There's a random lamb here that Tom is, hanging
yeah,
out with. I
I think.
I thought the depiction of Tom Bombadil was pretty good. I like the portrayal here.
I just thought that was the whole scene seems to be very stiff and awkward. Like, I don't know. I just don't know like what I was expecting from a Tom. I was just definitely expecting more happy and cheerful and like excited and and that guy just seemed very more hardcore, a lot more hardcore.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't as cheerful as you would expect, but
Yeah, yeah,
I appreciated the depiction at least of Tom.
yep.
And I'm not surprised at all that he's not cheerful because so many of these characters are so different from their book counterparts.
Hmm.
But that being said, I do think that they're really hinting at the stranger being Gandalf, not only because he frequently says lines that Gandalf said,
Yeah,
but like also Tom pretty much like straight up says like, "Oh, well, you're tied here. Your purpose here is to confront Sauron," which I guess is true of all the wizards that were sent to Middle Earth. Like their fates are tied to Sauron, because like
yeah.
they're literally there for that purpose. Like, but that's like a third age thing, and here we're still in the second age. I don't know. I hope it's not Gandalf, but it's like very obviously Gandalf,
Yeah,
which is
yeah. It's Gandalf.
yeah.
It's Gandalf. It's Gandalf.
Like if it's not Gandalf at this point, you'd kind of go, "Oh, well, they're just like not playing fair with their audience." Like because like it is Gandalf.
Yep.
So, um yeah, and then like the again with the Galadriel Elrond stuff, like it's just like I don't know, it's so odd and like Galadriel straight up tells him like, "Oh, if I'm not with you guys, you'll just all die."
Mm.
Like the only reason I'm coming is so that you guys don't die. And then she just
Yeah.
abandons them anyway to like, you know, let them go on. The ring is still like helping her with her powers of perception. So like she foresaw the barrel whites and all that stuff, but okay, I guess. um, but I don't know, like everything there is so random. Like, all of a sudden now we're traveling, and oh, here comes some orcs. Randomly, a horse is there, so they're shooting random arrows at it, and one just so
Yeah.
happens
I actually
to.
kind of like that because again, like we as people who are pretty modernized, shall I say, we're not used to like eating certain animals and we actually think of them in certain ways. You and I probably have like I don't know if you love horses like in the way like, but I like love horses, right? Like I think
Mhm.
they're like giant dogs essentially, but they can fucking kill you really quick. So don't turn your back on horses, like, or at least try not to. But you know what I mean, right? They're really
Yes.
cool, majestic animals. They're really good allegories for a lot of things, like in a lot of stories. One of my favorite authors of all time, John Steinbeck, constantly used horses for a lot of things, like references and such. And most famous was the Red Pony, which is basically the entire thing was about horses as allegory for things. Um, so I just think that was a cool part, but I don't know, like I just think that and then everything that happened after was just so dumb. It was just so dumb. Like one of the random arrows just shot and hit one of like the elves with like superpowers. Like Rio was just pointing out, like, how did elves get snuck up on by a horde of marauding orcs?
Well,
Right?
yeah. And
Like,
also like bro can't control his breathing all of a sudden,
yeah, and
and the
it's
ring
just
is
these
now
elves
Ray
act like
using the
clowns.
Force.
Yeah, these elves act. Yeah, that's what Rio was saying. That's not what it does, Ree. Like she was saying a couple things last night. She was really mad. Um, Galadriel's one of her favorite characters, so she's not having a
Yeah.
good time, and yeah, no, she's really not having a good time, especially not with this episode. I kept sharing the GIF from Red versus Blue, a famous world famous machinima. It opens up with the opening line is, "Do you ever wonder why we're here?" It's just I kept saying that over and over again last night, out of some of the silliest things, because that episode got progressively sillier. It did. Do you feel like it did? Like especially with like Gladriel and Elrond stuff, it just got progressively sillier.
Well, yeah, the Galadriel Elrond stuff is just so childish to me.
Yeah.
Like all of it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Absolutely.
And the other elves in the company are just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
what is this
And I just
bullshit?
hate it when she uses like this elven accent when she like talks. I don't know why she
Oh
does that a
yeah,
lot, right?
Elrond.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I fucking hate that. I don't know why it pisses me off, but it pisses me off to no end. Like it just makes me super angry, and I have no idea why. Like,
It's not the it's just the way it's said, you know, like it's like
yeah.
you could say Elrond, you know, you can
Like,
say
why
that,
don't
or
they
you can do
speak more? I
one
wish they
role.
spoke. I wish they spoke more Elvish. I know that's really a really big ask, but I wish they spoke actually just straight up were
Yeah,
speaking more Elvish to each other. That would have been really cool.
yeah, and they haven't touched
Hugo
on
Weaving can
any
do
of
it.
that with Numenor.
Yeah,
Uh,
if Hugo Weaving can do it.
oh yeah, that's the other thing. Hugo Weaving said he hasn't watched any of the Rings of Power just because he doesn't even care about Lord of the Rings that much. Like it's one of the
Oh
things like he
no.
doesn't wish he would like. He's like I don't care about being part of like this universe. Like I just did it, you know, and like
Mhm.
everyone
Yeah.
expects me to always talk about the Lord of the Rings and whatever. And like the
Yeah.
headline is Hugo
Well,
Weaving refuses to watch the Rings of Power.
yeah. Well, that's like it's like the difference too. Like the guy who played Sam in the movies is a huge Tolkien buff, right? Huge Tolkien buff. What's his name?
Sean
Sean
Astin,
Austin.
is he?
Sean Astin. Yeah, I heard that he's like a huge Tolkien buff. Like, and he always talks about like the dialogue. Basically, you just needed to copy paste the dialogue because the dialogue was so good from Tolkien's novels, and it was. One
Yeah,
thing Tolkien was really good at was writing very well flowing dialogue, which is very difficult to do. Because
yeah,
or at times you have scenes which what happens in this scene like character talks at character talks to character talks to character. They both like go do something else. It just doesn't work out very well.
yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it would be nice if they spoke more Elvish, but also I just like I find Galadriel and Elrond together to just be so fucking drear. Like I just can't bring myself to care that much because they just argue about nothing. Like I get it, like they're their own characters, they have their own agency. I just don't think any of it makes much sense, and it just makes them come across as like petulant, both of them. So it is whatever. I'm not. I wish I enjoyed their characterizations more. I just don't. Um, so, oh, one thing that happened in the episode, you get a little more insight into Elrond, and why he is behaving the way he is, I guess, and it's because shout out Elrond's dad, right? We got a Elrond's dad reference. But also Elrond is like, oh wow, I was foreseeing that like I would have something to do with Celebrimbor's death. And so that's why maybe he's so opposed to the fucking rings or whatever.
Mm.
But Celebrimbor's death, when that happens, I hope they do that right, because holy shit, that's a major part of Sauron's story. They always say Sauron. Sauron.
Yeah, see the fake accent, I just hate it, dude. I hate
Elrond.
it. I hate it so much. Like it's like a forced accent, dude. Like I
They
just
they
hate
do
it.
it with their names because Elrond also says Galadriel.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just hate it.
yeah. Isildur.
Isildur, cast it into the fire. Destroy it.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and then our other story really is just this Estrad Isildur Erandir story.
I fucking hate it so much.
Yes, and Erandir is like, oh, Estrid, you are a traitor. Ah, ha ha ha! I have discovered your secrets.
Yeah.
And then Isildur's like, again, being a very fucking petulant child, he's like, "And you have you been just been lying to me the whole time? You don't even have a betrothed, do you? Huh? You just been lying? You just been full of shit just so you can get close to me because I'm a Numenorian, aka a Numenorian."
Fuck you, dude. Oh shit, dude. Yeah, this episode was just so comically bad. Like
and
comically, dude.
and then some giant fucking mudworm eats
It was a
Erandir
bug. Dude. It was like a
and
bug. Dude. It
Isildur.
was like a
Well,
bug
yeah,
or something.
Yeah, it was like a parasite, a giant one. And then Estrid is like, "Oh, it's my chance to escape." Instead, she comes back and tries to rescue them, but they don't really need rescuing because the elf guy just stabbed the stomach out of they just cut their way out, you know. And then, surprise, surprise, they discover Ents. Holy
Yep.
shit! Who saw that coming?
Yeah, nobody at all. Wow. He
Yeah,
looked up and there were leaves everywhere, and then he was vanished all of a sudden.
yeah.
It did.
And we get an ent wife, guys. An ent
Yep.
wife for the first
And
time. An ent wife.
and wife.
Yes, and the Ents are very mad, and they're like, people are cutting down our forests, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, gotcha. Don't worry. Hey, Ent guy, don't worry. One day your Ent wife is gonna leave you for those trees that are producing fruit and stuff, because they're much nicer until they become tree-ish and never
And then
show up again.
yeah, and then they forget where they are, and you forget where they are, and you've misplaced all of your wives, and that's very sad.
Yes, yes.
Very sad indeed.
Yes. And somehow they don't kill any of the people they're trying to kill, and they allow the elf to reason with them.
Yeah.
And
Because Elf
yeah, and
is
now
Elf.
Theo and Erandir are besties. They're besties
Besties,
because you
bro.
rescued him from the Ents. And Estrid, oh, she's ready to make out with Isildur until her betrothed is also rescued. It's so stupid. Like, they're just sitting there, like, full on about to kiss, and then he's like, Estrid? Oh. And she's like, oh my god, I love you so much. Oh, I wasn't about to make out with Isildur or anything, you know? Just hanging out and whatnot. Yeah, that happened. That's pretty much the episode. Oh, Galadriel gets captured by Hadar at the end when she's going like 1v1,000.
Oh, that's right. That shit was so stupid. That whole sequence was so bad, dude. Like, so Galadriel just like goes John Wick against these orc, which is fine. You know, freaking that's what elves do, right?
Sure.
They're overpowered. That's what
some of them.
they can
yeah.
walk on. They can walk on top of snow. They can dance through the air.
Apparently, they can't walk on top of fucking quick mud
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks you down into its depths.
It was the worm, dude. It was the worm got them. The bug,
yeah.
the centipede,
Yeah.
drugged them under, bro.
Yeah.
It drugged them
must have
down.
Must have been.
Must have been.
Yeah.
And then what you do is
Yeah.
Galadriel lights a bunch of orcs on fire
Mm-hmm.
because it looks cool, and she's just doing all sorts of things.
Yep. Just going mad horde.
And then she gets one shot with the chain, and Adar grabs like the arrow. And yeah.
Yeah, and then Adar's like,
I wonder if they were like this scene wanted it to be dramatic or something like that, because it was so anticlimactic or anything. I don't know. I hated it, man.
Yeah. Also, so this is the party of orcs that's going to Eregion, right? Because they suspect that Sauron is there, and they're gonna go attack Eregion. So yeah, that's gonna happen. There was no Gilgalad in this episode, so that was good because he's just I'm not a fan of this version of Gilgalad. But yeah, Galadriel's like, I'm gonna go fight all the orcs, and then the elf party, they're like, she's sacrificing herself to save us, and then Elrond's like, she's not doing it for you, she's doing it to save the ring. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
great.
It's not a good sequence of events.
No,
very uninspiring.
It's just stupid.
So let's start with the episode. Bunch of boring halfling stuff. The Marauders instantly showed up. Like, there was no dramatics or anything like that. They just showed up and got the, hey, what's up? We're bigger than you. We're gonna beat you up because you're dumb little hobbits, and we're like Marauders or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
We got 3 seconds of Evil Wizard. Let's see what else. So that's like a 0 out of 10.
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
We didn't get any dwarf stuff. We didn't get any give her a gift and freaking what's his name, building the ring, celebrate more, building the wing.
Yeah.
Rings,
no Celebrimbor and Anatar. Big L for the episode.
Big fat L. Big fat L. We got Tom Bombadil minus 250 points from Gryffindor.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Tom.
Oof, damn.
Tom is one of the better parts of the episode. Okay.
Yeah, and it's only barely passing grade, bro. Okay. And then what else? We got
Erandir, Isildur, and Estrid.
Yeah, going around like just fumbling through the forest, and then they talk to like an ant and an ant wife, which is admittedly like their faces are really cool at least, so that was cool. It was a little over dramatic. I will say again with the things going on with the elf making his promises and such, but it
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see a wife with like flowers and stuff like that. That was pretty dope.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep. And
and
then
yeah,
and then we have Elrond and
Elrond and
Galadriel.
We have Elrond.
Yeah. Elrond.
Elrond. We have Elrond. Just being shitty to each other.
Yeah.
First 5 seconds, like, do you trust me, Commander? Like, what the? Like, as soon as she said that, like, in like the little bitchy way that she said it, I was like, dude, I'm so.
Yeah. Like in the whole episode, Elrond is just like, as long as you wear that ring, I don't trust anything you say. Just like, bro, chill out. Like, he's got such a rage boner for the fucking ring, and Galadriel has such like a love boner for the ring, and I'm just like, this is such, like, to me, it's such a point of false conflict. Like, there's no real conflict here. Like, if the rings are corrupted by Sauron, the damage has already been done. Like Elrond, like, okay, like, what are you gonna do? And if your whole thing is you were told that you would have a part to play in the death of Celebrimbor, and that's what scares you about these rings that Celebrimbor made, I don't know what to tell you, brother. You gotta sort your fucking life out. So
Yeah, I said this is gonna be a short episode because, like, now what are we talking about? The episode was hot garbage. Every part of it, like, again, like the shoe, like the whites. We kept talking more, skipping over the barrow whites. Like, oh, what are they? Barrow. What? How do you say it in her like shitty elven like whites in like a shitty elven accent, like whites, whatever the fuck.
better whites.
Something like that. And that dude gets dragged off. The eyes and the shadows are really cool for a few seconds. I thought they were all going to get put to sleep, which is what is supposed to happen, right? They get enchanted, and the Barrow Whites, like,
Yeah, by the fog, really.
Yeah.
And then like
And
they get taken into barrows and chained down.
yeah.
And
And
yeah.
instead, Elrond's like, I read some lore because I'm the lore master and I know lore. And if you find like their weapons and kill them, like they die. And the
Which he
problem
is a
was
lore
solved.
master,
I
but
guess that is true, but
but
also like that was really like I wish you would have done that when they were all chained
yeah,
down.
like isn't that like, as soon as you see that there are barrows, like, you're like, oh, I should probably go find their store of weapons so we can kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, or something.
And instead, you like
Or if it
let
would
one
be
of your
really cool
guys
if they were
straight
all-
up get killed.
Yeah, exactly. Straight up murdered. And like, it would have been really cool if they all got chained up and then Elrond is like, okay, I gotta lore master myself out of this. Like, you just like if you just like woke up and immediately recognized what was going on, like, and he started looking for like, there was like a shot of like him like not going for his own knife, but going for like the knife of a Barrow White instead. Some cool shit.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. They could have done. The thing is, we could spend hours talking about all the things they should have done. Okay.
Yes, especially
But
in this episode. It's just I don't know, man. It was definitely not one of the worst ones. And it's funny because I told Rio as I was watching this. I was like, I remember last time we watched the first we watched, first episode was a little cringe, but the episode 2 and 3 were pretty good.
mhm.
I'm like, okay, we're pretty excited now. And then like there's some episodes that are just, and I can't remember which specific episodes, but there's episodes I remember in the first season that are just abysmally bad. Like they're just no entertaining to watch and useless and pointless and dumb. It just felt like one of those episodes. So hopefully not all of them are gonna be like this.
Yeah.
Cause damn.
Maybe they should have released episodes 4 and 5 together, right? Like, and
Yeah.
if episode 5 is decent, like, you have a whole week here with no Anatar and Celebrimbor, and that is a disgrace. Okay, frankly, it is insulting.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like, the highlight of the entire Rings of Power series so far is the Anatar reveal. Like, in my opinion, the worst part of this season so far is the fucking eagle not talking. Makes no sense. And this whole episode is pretty bad. So, yeah, it's like, to me, the biggest problem that the show has going for it is you don't really care about the Harfoots. You don't really care about the Stranger. You don't really care about Rune at all, to be honest. Galadriel is annoying. Elrond is petulant. The Numenorians show up once a season. uh, Adar is a new created character, so people either don't care about him or find him cool. People don't like that they humanized orcs with a baby orc, despite the fact that every other depiction of orcs shows them as terrible, terrible, terrible creatures who want to kill horses for fun. Celebrimbor and Sauron are the best parts of the show, and even they don't get enough screen time. We like Durin and we like the dwarves, but still don't get enough screen time. And so here we are. This is the Rings of Power, guys. Oh, also, Arondir is pretty cool.
Arondir?
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Arondir?
But he's also,
Arondir?
pretty useless. Like, he just has no point in the story anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's just wandering around aimlessly.
yeah. He just randomly shows up, exposes Estrid, and then is just like, I promise to keep. I must leave.
Yeah.
You can come with me if you want, Theo, because I'm a very responsible elf taking a child on a dangerous mission with me. But, anyway.
That's how it be.
Yeah.
Welcome to Middle Earth. There is no child protective
Welcome
services.
to Middle Earth, bitch. Yeah. So, I look forward to next week and hope it's better than this week.
Yeah, same.
That's all you could really say. Have you watched any of Batman Caped Crusader?
No, but one film.
Okay, I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Pretty good, pretty bad.
It's not amazing and not bad either. It's just, it's pretty good. There are a lot of noticeable differences in certain characters. Penguin is a woman. I'm sure you heard that already. That's like the most.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
That's the only one I've seen people actually be upset about, despite the fact that it works pretty well. Barbara Gordon is and Commissioner Gordon are both black, and I haven't seen any complaints about that so far. So, but I'm sure there will be. And Harley Quinn is like an Asian woman, I think. But I don't like. These are the things that don't make headlines, and that's what people want to talk about, despite the fact that we get an episode about Clayface, which I did find disappointing because I wish they would have done a little bit better with Clayface. Catwoman and Penguin are the 3 main villains in the first 3 episodes. So,
Cool.
Well, can you say that Catwoman is the villain of that episode?
Was Catwoman ever a villain? Really?
She's hot.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I didn't really like The Dark Knight Rises, but Anne Hathaway, oof.
Yeah. I don't think anyone really liked The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, but Anne Hathaway, I'm saying.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So, but yeah. We can talk about that if you watch it. I think there's 10 episodes, and they're like 20 minutes each.
Yeah, sure. So I got renewed for a second season.
Also, Prime. Listen. First of all, Prime, you have one of the worst UIs of any streaming service. I'm just going to say that. Second of all, I get that it's really expensive to give away free shipping and you have to recover those funds somehow, but forcing in the same 2 advertisements throughout the shows I'm trying to watch over and over is annoying. Okay? Either get better, more diverse advertisements or stop it.
Yeah.
People pay a lot of money for Prime to cover those shipping costs. And the fact that you are forcing bullshit ads, not just pre-rolls anymore, mid-rolls. Bro, I had to watch 4 or 5 different ads during the fucking Rings of Power. And they're the same one every time. I don't care about Bimeo or Bimo or whatever the fuck this bitch ordering way too many fucking garden gnomes, okay? I don't give a shit.
I forgot that's where I see it. Did you see that fucking commercial for that one chick? It's like, I fucking hit my sister's soon-to-be husband and gave him amnesia, and now he's falling in love with me. Like, what the fuck is going on with these people?
Oh, Jesus.
Talk about Hallmark. Amazon is just Hallmark.
Shit.
They're just Hallmark 2.0, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, rant over. Episode over. Like, comment, rate, review, subscribe. See you next week. Yeah. Bye.